Like, I always wanted to start my own company. I had been involved with starting companies up, but I'd never had my own company, and Ghetto Child was the first company that I actually started. That was mine, and got me and Tom and Sean were always skating together and kind of started this this thing together, and it was just like a fun project, of making some cool wheels, fun graphics, and it was really my first sort of attempt at like going, okay, I'm gonna learn computers and I'm gonna try to lay out graphics and lay out advertisements and build a team and manage it and find out how distribution works. And so Ghetto Child was really like my guinea pig of companies and how to understand and learn how to make a company. I almost brought it today, man. I should have brought it just because of the Ghetto Child revival, but I thought for sure they had some sound system in here or something, but I still got a few of them, yeah, and it still comes around. I make art and stuff now, and I always have my radio in the Ghetto Blaster's always in the studio, and whenever the homies come by, I'll click it on. I still got tape cassettes and stuff like that, so it's still, the Ghetto Blaster's still alive and kicking, yeah. 59s or something, I'm pretty sure, but that might have been before Ghetto Child that I was going through this like big wheel phase. It's all a little blurry, but yeah, but my main ones were I've been just kind of like stuck in this 55 millimeter phase for like a long time, and those 55 millimeters seemed like kind of like the perfect balance between like being big enough to roll over some cracks, but small enough to still be able to flip your board without it feeling like a tank. Man, every moment with Tom Penny is a magical moment, you know, and my whole time, even till now when we see each other, it's like, we always kind of like, you have those certain friends where you just pick up right where you left off, kind of, and Tom's one of those guys. Man, there's just too many. But I guess living with them when we got our first apartment, after moving to California and being homeless for like a few years and just couch surfing for all this endless amount of time, me and Tom were able to get a room together with our friend Angel, and that whole time period of for about a year or so, living with each other, sharing a room, and start progressing with skateboarding with each other. That was a really memorable time for me and Tom to hang and stuff. So I have a severe back injury. I have a slipped disc in my lower back, and which they require surgery, and I risk the chance of being paralyzed if I skate right now. So I have a disc that's completely stuck out of place, and your full central nervous system goes through it, and I basically wake up in pain every day without skateboarding. And so it's a horrible situation in my life right now that like I'm fearing the surgery, but every day that goes by that I live in this pain, I'm considering the surgery more and more and looking into potential options to get it fixed, because it's no quality of life to deal with what I'm dealing with right now. So my heart is always in skateboarding, but unfortunately what I've done on my skateboard is coming back to haunt me, and so I've had a couple bad injuries that like kind of compiled into this one finalized popped out disc. Hopefully someday I'll be back though, because I love it to death. I always will. Yeah, a lot of it, almost all of it, like, you know, besides the early years, starting with Fulfill the Dream was one of the first beats that I actually made, and then as I was learning the process of making beats, I was just like, I made that beat, I was like, I'm putting this in my part, you know. Got to make it for some other homies' parts too, like Brian Anderson, and I know there's a few, Brad Staba, and a few other homies' parts out there, and made some beats for them to skate to as well too, so that was pretty fun. I was using a piece of equipment called MPC 2000. That was usually like around that time, I believe that's what I made most of my beats on. It was even fun, like I would kind of score the beat to the actual skate part, so I would get a rough version of it on a VHS tape and like hit play on the VHS on my TV, this little TV I had with a built-in VHS tape. Pretty ghetto at the time, like, you know, looking back on it. And I would just hit play on the beat at the same time and kind of watch them roughly, pre-editing it to the actual beat. And so I would sort of like score it to this janky like VHS setup with my TV and my beat machine right next to each other, like trying to hit play at the same time, and then eventually edit it in the right way, you know. I guess we called it the Helter Skelter rail back then. I think it even had a name. It's a 50/50 downtown curved rail. At that time, it was a pretty monumental feat for myself because I had never seen anybody really like grind this like rail with that type of curvature, with the drop off and all these kind of factors with it. And I remember looking at it going like, wow, I could do this, you know? And then I dropped in on it that day and grinded around and came off, and I was like, well, if I can like grind down it by dropping in off it, I can do it, you know? And so, yeah, that was just an all-around great day and time period of my life, filming with Ed Templeton and Jamie Thomas. There's a funny story behind that. We only had the 16mm film, so the something happened, and where like the one of the tries, the one I landed like cut out halfway down it, and then like the other angle, like he didn't hit record on time or something crazy like that. So they ended up having to like splice two angles together to show the make, because the film ran out. So it wasn't digital, it was like actually filmed in film. I mean, there were so many great moments, and they're all equally as amazing on tour. But some of the early tour moments, like being on Toy Machine and getting to go on some of these first tours across America. It was just an American tour, and getting in the van with Ed Templeton and Jamie Thomas and Maldonado and Barley and Brian Anderson and like all these guys, and just to go out and go like, holy wow, like I'm with these guys now in this tour. Those were the most surreal moments, because that's when I actually was like, this can actually happen. Like, this is real. It's not just an idea or fantasy. I'm in the van with Ed Templeton and Jamie Thomas, and we're driving across, you know. Now looking back on it, it's not the most glorious of moments, you know, like a bunch of skaters in a van, driving, staying in sketchy motels and like skating these demos and driving to the next country, you know, the next state, and going this nonstop. But to me, like, that was, at that time, was like living like royalty, you know. I was like, I'm staying in a hotel, they're giving me $5 to eat, and you know, and I'm skating this demo, and I'm with Ed Templeton and Jamie Thomas. Like, that was like, I mean, that just thinking back on the memory still is like, whoa, that gives me chills, because that was the highlight of my life, and it set the stage for everything else that was to come after that. So those first tours were the best, yeah. In my backpack, it depends on what era you ask me in, you know what I mean? I mean, the origins of the backpack came from being homeless and living out of my backpack. So my backpack was my house, and it probably had a couple wife beaters, some clean underwear and socks, and a couple t-shirts, probably one pant or one short or something, you know, and my headphones and my Walkman and my tape cassettes. I owned an Escalade, yeah, for sure, the Cadillac Muscalade. They sort of like souped it up for theatrics in the video game a bit, I think. It didn't have like hydraulics or like anything like, or like some crazy ass like stereo system or anything like that. They sort of like spiced it up a bit, but I had a white Escalade that looked pretty similar to that. I love the Escalades, I love a great car, but yeah, I drive a Prius nowadays, I'm a dork. No. Yo, this is Muska. Get your Ghetto Child wheels available at skatewarehouse.com. Yeah.
Oh, favorite OG Ghetto Child, definitely got to be Tom Penny. I mean, that's my, he's my man.